Right, this is video 6.1. We are starting a new chapter in our pre-algebra. Kind of still in geometry a little bit. We're going to be looking, rather than at angles and shapes, we're going to be looking at perimeters and areas. So the perimeter is going to be the distance around the outside of a figure. Now, specifically, we're talking about the perimeter in this section of parallelograms and rectangles. And so there's a simple formula you can use because by definition, what a rectangular and a parallelogram have, you have two sides that are equal in length and they're parallel to each other. And then the other two sides are equal in length and parallel. And so you can have, you take the length of one side, multiply it by 2, and add that to the other side multiplied by 2, and that will give you the perimeter. So B is the length of the base and H is the length of the height. So if we have a square here, or a rectangle, either one, you've got your base and you've got your height for either one of them. And so if we were to find the perimeter of either of these shapes, we would just do 2 times B plus 2 times H. It's really important that you go ahead and start learning how to use simple formulas for math and science to solve problems. So let's find the perimeter of each figure. If we have this rectangle here that is an 8 by 10, we would take our P, go ahead and write our formula, 2B plus 2H. Our B is the 10, so it would be 2 times 10 plus 2 times 8. That is going to be 20 plus 16, so the perimeter is 36 units. What about if our parallelogram looks like this? It still works the same way because this side is equal in length to that side, and the 9 is equal to length to this side. So it's still the same formula. So P is equal to 2B plus 2H. So our base would be 11, and our height would be 9. Now, does it matter if your B and your H, if you get them backwards? In a parallelogram, it really doesn't matter at all. 2 times 11 is 22, and 2 times 9 is 18. So altogether, that is 40 units. The area is slightly different. An area is how many square units fit inside a figure. And the way we figure that out is we take our base times our height. So in a parallelogram, whether it's a rectangle or a square, you're going to take one side and multiply it by the other side. So for, let's say, a parallelogram that looks like this, while this length may not be a 3, the height, because you can turn this into a rectangle, and this triangle that is missing right here would fit in right there. So it still works. Your BH still works. So sometimes when we do find the area of a parallelogram, another way to show it is by doing it in a graph, because then you can actually count the little square units that are inside to make sure that we're getting the right number. So what we're going to do is we're going to graph these 4 corners of our parallelogram, and we'll find the area by counting on the inside. So first I'm going to graph my -2, -1. So I'm going to go to the left 2 and then down 1 and put my spot. Next is x is 2, y is -1. So I'm going to go to that spot. And then I have a 2, 2. So I'm going to go +2 up 2. And then a -2, 2. So then it would be that spot right there. Go ahead and connect my dots. Make my little rectangle. Now my area is going to be all that's inside here. And so to find the area, I'm going to show you both ways how it works. We're just going to count up how many square units are inside. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it is 12 square units. Now, if we do it by length times width, our base is 4 units wide, and our height is 3 units tall. So if we did area is base times height, we would do 4 times 3, which we also get 12. Keep in mind that the units are going to be square. Their perimeter is plane units, area is square units. Finding the area and perimeter of a composite figure. A composite figure is going to be one that looks like it's made up of other figures, and you can kind of break them apart to see how it's made. So this one appears to be made of a bunch of rectangles. So it makes it really simple to find the area because you can't have a height and a base. You don't have a B and an H in this shape in order to find it. Perimeter is going to work the same way still. We're still going to add up all our sides together. We can't use 2B times 2H because there's not a B and an H. So we're just going to add them all up. I'm just going to circle the number that I start on so I make sure that I include everything and I get back to that. Now this side over here is not labeled, so we're going to want to make sure we figure that one out first. If you look that this is broken in, if we could break this into a rectangle here, we can see that this height is 3 and it's a rectangle, so that height needs to be 3 as well. So I'm just going to add my sides up. So I have 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3 plus 4. If you add all of those up, you're going to get 36 units. So if this were the floor plan of a house, you would need, and you were wanting to buy flooring, you're going to need to know area. But if you're going to buy baseboards, you would need to know perimeter. You would need 36 units of whatever it is that you're buying. So for area, the best way to do it is to split it up into smaller rectangles because you can't multiply 5 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 6 times 3 times 4 and find the area. You'll find if you find the area of the smaller rectangles, you can find the area of the whole thing by adding them together. Now you don't have to break it into the same small rectangles that I'm breaking it into. I'm going to use these 3 the way I've drawn it here, but you could also say you wanted to do this little square and this long rectangle. Or maybe you want to break it into a square, a rectangle, a square, and a rectangle. You could do it that way as well. The more rectangles you break it into, the more mistakes you're probably going to make. But I'm going to do 3. So the first one I'm going to find is that I'm going to find the area of what I'm going to call rectangle 1. So I'm going to do my height times my width. All right, so that would be 5 times 2. So the area of the first one is 10. On this one, I'm going to take this rectangle. So I'm going to do this 5 times that 3. Give me 15. Now the reason I use the 5 and not the 4 is, do you see that the 4 is all of this side? That does not encompass the whole length of our rectangle. So we just have to be careful which numbers we're going to use. So this is rectangle 2 and this will be rectangle 3. So the area of 3 is going to be my length times my height. So my 6 times 3, which is 18. So my area is going to be all 3 of these added up, which would be 43 units squared, because it's square units. So you can either write square units or you can just say units squared, right? That's all for today. It's pretty simple. You should have done perimeter and area before in your past, and so this should be pretty simple. So go ahead and click on the link, and I didn't finish typing homework, but it's homework. And I'll see you in class.